15 minutes. That is about how long you have untreated after a bite from the animal sitting at number 1 on our list today. And most victims don't even realize they've been struck until their heart starts to struggle and their vision begins to fade. Welcome to the United States, land of majestic national parks, endless suburban sprawl, backyard barbecues, and roughly 1,500 ways to end up in a coroner's report before dinner. People love to view North America's wilderness as a picturesque postcard, a place for weekend camping trips, scenic drives through the Rockies, or leisurely swims off the Florida coast. But if you dig through state health department records and emergency room logs, a very different picture emerges. Every single creature on this list has real names attached to real fatalities, documented hospital admissions, and precise GPS coordinates marking where an ordinary day turned into a life or death emergency. This isn't urban legend. This is paperwork. Today, we are counting down the 13 deadliest predators in the United States. The ones that dominate the deep woods, the swampy bayous, the desert trails, and, in more than a few cases, your own basement or suburban backyard. And the animal waiting at number 1? It has sent more Americans to the hospital and claimed more lives over the decades than grizzly bears, mountain lions, and alligators combined. It isn't a massive carnivore with razor-sharp claws. It is something much smaller, quieter, and far more likely to be hiding under your lawn furniture right now than you'd care to admit. Here is how we are ranking them. Real documented human deaths, how frequently ordinary people, hikers, joggers, toddlers in backyards, and weekend fishermen actually cross paths with them, and how much warning you get before it is already too late. Number 13. The Arizona bark scorpion. It measures less than 3 inches long. It is pale yellow, nearly translucent, and easily blends in with dried leaves, gravel, or the interior of a leather boot. Yet, the Arizona bark scorpion carries a potent cocktail of neurotoxins strong enough to cause severe systemic dysfunction, respiratory distress, and temporary paralysis in human beings. Unlike most scorpion species that prefer staying grounded on desert sand, the bark scorpion is an expert climber. It has specialized structures on its feet that allow it to scale brick walls, wood paneling, stucco homes, and even ceilings. This arboreal habit is precisely why encounters with humans are so dangerously frequent throughout the American Southwest. When night falls in Arizona, Nevada, or Southern California, these creatures venture inside air-conditioned homes looking for moisture and insects, often crawling across bedroom ceilings only to drop onto occupied beds below. The sting itself does not feel like a minor insect bite. Survivors describe it as an intense, agonizing sensation, akin to an electric current coursing through the nervous system, followed by severe burning pain. Within minutes, the neurotoxin begins targeting the nervous system. Symptoms include violent muscle twitching, involuntary eye movements, slurred speech, profuse sweating, and difficulty breathing. For healthy adults, prompt medical intervention usually prevents death. But for young children and the elderly, a single sting can cause complete respiratory failure in under 2 hours. Today, while antivenom keeps modern mortality rates low, hundreds of severe envenomations are reported every year. It takes the number 13 spot on our countdown because while modern medicine has curbed its lethality, it remains one of the most stealthy and aggressive home invaders in the entire country. Number 12. The cottonmouth water moccasin. A fish that swims past your boat might ignore you, but a semi-aquatic pit viper lurking in a murky southern bayou operates on an entirely different set of rules. The cottonmouth, popularly known across the American South as the water moccasin, is North America's only semi-aquatic viper, inhabiting swamps, lakes, slow-moving rivers, and drainage ditches from Virginia all the way down to Florida and west into Texas. The cottonmouth earns its name from the stark, snow-white interior of its mouth, which it exposes in a gaping threat display when cornered or agitated. Thick-bodied, heavy, and equipped with heat-sensing pit organs between its eyes and nostrils, this predator does not flee when humans approach. While many snake species instinctively retreat, a cottonmouth will often stand its ground, coil up, and hold its position, relying on its dark, muddy camouflage until a swimmer, wader, or kayak angler unknowingly steps right into strike range. The venom of the cottonmouth is heavily cytotoxic. It does not just attack the nervous system, it aggressively breaks down tissue, destroys red blood cells, disrupts blood clotting, and causes severe internal hemorrhaging. A bite leads to immediate, blinding pain, massive localized swelling, and rapid necrosis, literally rotting the surrounding muscle and flesh within hours. Without rapid administration of crowfab antivenom, a cottonmouth bite can easily lead to permanent tissue loss, limb amputation, severe systemic shock, and kidney failure. In remote southern swamps or tangled river bends where cell service is non-existent, and the nearest hospital is an hour away, the delay in reaching medical care is what makes this snake so dangerous. Every year, thousands of outdoor enthusiasts unwittingly wade through cottonmouth territory, making it a constant, reclusive threat throughout the waterways of the American South. Number 11. The American alligator. Reaching lengths of over 14 feet and weighing up to 1,000 pounds, the American alligator is a living relic of the prehistoric age, wielding an armored hide and a bite force exceeding 2,000 pounds per square inch. Native to the lakes, rivers, swamps, and coastal marshes of the southeastern United States, with dense populations in Florida, Louisiana, Georgia, and Texas, this apex reptile is an absolute master of ambush. An alligator can lie entirely submerged in murky water with only its eyes and nostrils exposed, watching a shoreline for hours without making a single motion. When it strikes, it moves with terrifying speed, seizing prey in jaws lined with 80 conical teeth designed to grip rather than slice. Once an alligator has a firm grip on a victim, it drags them beneath the surface and executes the infamous death roll, a violent spinning maneuver designed to disorient, drown, and dismember large prey. For decades, human encounters were largely confined to deep swamps. However, rapid suburban development across Florida and the Gulf Coast has pushed residential neighborhoods, golf courses, and retention ponds directly into historic alligator habitats. As a result, millions of residents now share space with an apex predator that sees no distinction between a wild raccoon and a family pet walking near the water's edge. Since official record-keeping began, dozens of unprovoked fatal alligator attacks have been documented across the United States. Tragic incidents often involve children playing near shoreline grass, seniors gardening near retention ponds, or swimmers stepping into freshwater lakes during dusk or dawn, the alligator's primary hunting hours. Unlike large mammals that might issue warning growls or bluffs, an alligator gives no warning before striking. It sits at number 11 because, while attacks remain statistically rare relative to the millions of people living near them, an encounter in the water leaves almost no room for human error. Number 10. The brown recluse spider. For decades, Americans have reassured themselves that tiny house spiders are harmless pest controllers. But across a massive corridor stretching from the Midwest down through the South, there is a small, reclusive arachnid that quietly disproves that rule: the brown recluse. Measuring barely an inch across, including its leg span, and marked by a distinct violin-shaped pattern on its back, the brown recluse does not build large, visible webs in the center of a room. It hides in dark, undisturbed spaces, inside cardboard boxes, inside dark closets, under stacks of firewood, behind drywall, and inside folded clothing or shoes left in garages. What makes the brown recluse notorious is its necrotic venom. Unlike most venomous creatures whose bites cause systemic symptoms like paralysis or heart elevation, the venom of a brown recluse contains a potent enzyme called sphingomyelinase D. This toxin actively breaks down cell membranes, destroys blood vessels, and starves surrounding tissue of oxygen. The bite itself is often completely painless, leaving victims unaware they've been bitten for hours. But over the next 24 to 48 hours, the site turns into an agonizing purplish-black ulcer as the surrounding skin and muscle tissue begin to die. In severe cases, the necrosis expands rapidly, leaving deep, open wounds that require extensive skin grafts or surgical debridement. In rare instances, particularly among young children, the venom enters the bloodstream, triggering systemic loxoscelism, a condition marked by massive red blood cell destruction, acute kidney failure, and death. Every single year, thousands of Americans are bitten while simply reaching into a dark attic box, pulling on a pair of boots, or cleaning out a shed. It takes the number 10 spot because it lives directly inside human structures, turning routine household chores into unexpected medical emergencies. Number 9. The black widow spider. If the brown recluse dominates the dark corners of houses, the black widow owns the perimeter. Found across virtually every region of the United States, with distinct southern, northern, and western species, the female black widow is instantly recognizable by her jet black shiny body and the vivid crimson hourglass marking on her abdomen. Unlike the necrotic damage of the recluse, the female black widow carries a potent neurotoxin known as alpha-latrotoxin. Pound for pound, this venom is vastly more toxic than that of most rattlesnakes. When injected into human tissue, alpha-latrotoxin triggers a massive, uncontrolled release of neurotransmitters across the central nervous system, causing a severe clinical condition known as latrodectism. Within an hour of a bite, the victim experiences excruciating pain that radiates from the bite site into the abdomen, chest, and lower back. The abdominal muscles often lock up so violently that emergency room physicians historically mistook widow bites for ruptured appendixes. Other symptoms include profound sweating, rapid heart rates, severe nausea, hypertension, and respiratory distress. Before the widespread development and availability of black widow antivenom, a bite carried a significant risk of death, particularly for elderly individuals, young children, and those with pre-existing heart conditions. Today, while fatal cases are rare thanks to modern medical treatment, widow spiders remain an extremely common hazard. They construct tight, messy webs under outdoor patio furniture, inside water meter boxes, under wooden decks, and around lawnmowers. Because they frequent the exact spots where homeowners put their hands without looking, thousands of envenomations occur across the nation every year. Number 8. The bull shark. When most people picture a shark attack, they imagine deep ocean waters off remote oceanic islands. But the bull shark breaks every rule of traditional marine biology. Aggressive, stocky, and equipped with a physical build built like a battering ram, this predator possesses one of the strongest bite forces per pound of any fish on the planet. But its most dangerous trait isn't its jaw strength, it is its physiology. Unlike great whites or tiger sharks, bull sharks possess specialized kidneys and glands that allow them to process fresh water. They do not just hunt along coastal beaches and murky surf zones. They routinely travel hundreds of miles inland up major river networks, bayous, and coastal canals. Bull sharks have been spotted in the Mississippi River as far north as Illinois, inside Maryland's brackish inlets, and swimming through shallow residential canals throughout Florida and the Gulf Coast. Because they prefer warm, shallow, turbid waters, bull sharks hunt in the exact places where families swim, ride jet skis, and wade with dogs. In low-visibility water, a bull shark relies on lateral line sensors to detect movement, often striking instinctively at splashing limbs before visually confirming what it is biting. A single bite from a mature bull shark can sever major arteries and crush bone in seconds, leading to catastrophic blood loss before a swimmer can even return to shore or reach a boat. Because they frequent populated estuarine zones and freshwater rivers where people least expect to find a massive marine predator, the bull shark is responsible for a huge percentage of unprovoked shark interactions in North American waters. It takes number 8 because it completely redraws the map of where dangerous territory begins, proving that safe inland freshwater isn't always safe. Number 7. The black bear. Weighing anywhere from 200 to over 600 pounds, the American black bear is the most widely distributed bear species in North America, inhabiting mountain ranges, dense forests, and suburban ridges from Alaska to Florida, and from Maine down to California. For decades, public perception painted the black bear as a timid, harmless scavenger that runs away at the slightest noise. And while the vast majority of interactions end peacefully, wildlife biologists and state park records confirm a darker reality. While grizzly bear attacks are often defensive reactions, a mother protecting cubs or a bear guarding a kill, fatal black bear attacks are frequently predatory. When a black bear decides to attack a human, it is often a lone, underfed male that has made the deliberate choice to hunt. Unlike a defensive attack where a bear might knock a person down and leave once the threat is neutralized, a predatory black bear strike does not stop. It stalks silently, closes the distance through thick brush, and uses its heavy paws and short curved claws to pin victims before biting the neck and head. With human housing expanding deep into forest boundaries and trail usage hitting record highs in state and national parks, black bears have become thoroughly habituated to human scents, trash, and campsites. Across North America, Dozens of fatal black bear attacks have been documented in recent decades, claiming the lives of solo hikers on backcountry trails, campers asleep in tents, and homeowners walking near tree lines at dusk. It sits at number 7 because its sheer population size and overlap with human spaces make encounters an almost daily occurrence across rural America. Number 6. The mountain lion, cougar/puma. Silent, solitary, and capable of leaping 40 feet horizontally in a single bound, the mountain lion, also known as the cougar or puma, is North America's ultimate stealth predator. Ranging throughout the western United States, from the Canadian border down to the deserts of the Southwest, as well as a small, critically endangered population in the Florida Everglades, this large felid is designed for ghost-like ambush. A male mountain lion can weigh up to 180 pounds and stands as an apex hunter, capable of taking down mature elk and deer. Armed with retractable claws designed to hook into prey and jaw muscles engineered to crush the spinal cord or windpipe at the base of the neck, a cougar almost never attacks from the front. It tracks its target from behind, using high ridgelines, tall brush, or rocky outcrops to stay completely hidden until it is within striking distance. As urban sprawl creeps into the canyons and foothill regions of states like California, Colorado, Washington, and Arizona, human cougar encounters have risen steadily. Mountain lions frequently utilize suburban greenbelts, trail systems, and residential yards to hunt deer or domestic pets. When a mountain lion targets a human, the victim rarely hears or sees the animal before impact. The attack begins with a sudden, high-speed pounce from behind, driving the victim to the ground while the cat seeks a fatal bite to the back of the neck or throat. Mountain lion attacks have claimed the lives of trail runners, mountain bikers, and young children playing on the edges of suburban parks. It takes the number 6 spot because it is one of the very few Native American predators that will actively stalk a human being with absolute silence and calculated patience. Number 5. The great white shark. Stretching up to 20 feet long and weighing over 4,000 pounds, the great white shark is the ocean's undisputed apex predator. In North America, massive populations patrol both the Pacific coast, particularly along Northern California and Oregon, and the Atlantic coast, with heavy seasonal concentrations around Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and the eastern seaboard. Equipped with rows of serrated triangular teeth and an array of electroreceptive sensors capable of detecting the faint heartbeat of a struggling animal, the great white hunts from below. It executes high-speed vertical breaches, slamming into surface targets with immense power. The vast majority of attacks on humans are cases of mistaken identity. A surfer paddled out on a surfboard, or a swimmer in a dark wetsuit, closely resembles the silhouette of a harbor seal or sea lion from below. However, when an animal of this size conducts an investigative bite, the physical consequences are immediate and catastrophic. A single strike can inflict massive structural trauma, severing arteries and tearing through muscle and bone. In recent years, successful marine conservation efforts have led to exploding seal populations along American coastlines, bringing great whites closer to public beaches than ever before. Fatal encounters continue to occur off the coasts of California, Maine, and Massachusetts. It holds the number 5 spot because while it doesn't target humans out of malice, a single exploratory bite from a 2-ton shark leaves virtually zero margin for survival. Number 4. The grizzly bear, North American brown bear. If the black bear is a cautious scavenger, the grizzly bear is a force of pure, undeniable dominance. Weighing up to 1,000 pounds, standing 9 feet tall on its hind legs, and possessing a prominent muscle hump over its shoulders built for crushing force, the North American brown bear dominates the northern Rockies, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Washington, and the vast wilderness of Alaska. Equipped with non-retractable claws as long as human fingers and a bite force capable of crushing a bowling ball, a grizzly bear does not fear any creature in its domain. Most grizzly attacks are defensive, a sow protecting her cubs, a bear guarding an elk carcass buried in the brush, or a surprise encounter on a blind turn along a mountain trail. Unlike black bears, grizzlies rarely stalk silently. When threatened or startled, a grizzly will charge at speeds up to 35 miles per hour, faster than any human can sprint, tackling its target and using its massive jaws to bite the head, neck, and face to neutralize the perceived threat. Every year in Yellowstone, Glacier National Park, and the Alaskan backcountry, hikers, hunters, and field researchers suffer severe or fatal maulings. Survival often comes down to immediate access to bear spray or emergency medical evacuation via helicopter. The grizzly takes number 4 because within its territory, it is an absolute physical force that no human weaponless defense can overcome. Number 3. The timber wolf, gray wolf. Operating in tightly organized, highly intelligent packs, the timber wolf, or gray wolf, represents one of the most efficient mammalian hunting teams on Earth. Native to the dense forests and tundra of Alaska, the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Rockies, and the Great Lakes region, a single adult wolf can weigh up to 140 pounds and boasts a jaw pressure capable of crushing heavy ungulate bone. Unlike solitary hunters that rely purely on short bursts of speed or camouflage, a wolf pack utilizes endurance, strategy, and relentless coordination. They track prey for miles, testing its defenses, flanking its perimeter, and taking turns exhausting the target before moving in for synchronized strikes. For over a century, North Americans viewed wolf attacks as pure folklore, believing wild wolves would always avoid human contact. But modern wildlife records have shattered that illusion. As wolf populations have recovered under federal protections and expanded their territories near rural communities, habituation has increased. A fatal attack in Alaska involving a jogger ambushed along a rural road, alongside documented predatory encounters in western Canada and Minnesota, proved that under the right conditions, such as harsh winters, food scarcity, or habituation, a wolf pack will view a solo human as viable prey. It sits at number 3 because when a pack decides to hunt, there is no distracting a single animal. You are dealing with a coordinated unit designed to wear down far larger targets. Number 2. The eastern diamondback rattlesnake. Growing up to 8 feet in length and weighing over 10 pounds, the eastern diamondback rattlesnake is the largest venomous snake in the Americas and one of the most formidable pit vipers in the world. Native to the pine flatwoods, palmetto scrublands, and coastal islands of the American Southeast, stretching from North Carolina down through Florida and west to Louisiana, this creature is built like a muscle-bound apex hunter. Equipped with fangs that can exceed 3/4 of an inch in length, the eastern diamondback carries a massive venom payload. Its bite delivers a potent hemotoxic cocktail designed to destroy tissue, break down blood vessels, paralyze muscles, and disrupt blood clotting mechanisms simultaneously. Unlike many smaller pit vipers that deliver warning bites with low venom volume, a mature diamondback often strikes with immense force, driving its long fangs deep into muscle tissue and injecting large quantities of venom in a single millisecond stroke. A victim struck by an eastern diamondback experiences immediate, agonizing pain, followed by rapid swelling, severe blistering, internal bleeding, and systemic shock. Despite its iconic rattle, a warning device made of interlocking keratin segments, this snake does not always sound off before striking. If stepped on in dense palmetto brush or accidentally grabbed while clearing yard debris, it strikes instantly. Without rapid, high-dose administration of antivenom, a bite from an eastern diamondback carries a terrifyingly high mortality rate. It sits at number 2 because in terms of raw venom yield, strike range, and sheer physical power, it remains the most lethal snake species in North America. Number 1. The timber rattlesnake. We told you at the beginning of this video that the number 1 spot on our list didn't belong to a grizzly bear, a great white shark, or an alligator. It belongs to an animal that has sent more everyday Americans to the emergency room and claimed more lives across history than all those large predators combined, the timber rattlesnake. While the eastern diamondback takes the title for absolute size and venom volume, the timber rattlesnake takes number 1 due to its staggering geographic range, stealthy nature, and the sheer volume of human encounters it causes every single year. Found across vast stretches of the eastern, midwestern, and southern United States, from the rugged mountains of Pennsylvania and New York down to the swamps of Texas and Georgia, the timber rattlesnake inhabits the exact regions where tens of millions of Americans live, work, and hike. They blend seamlessly into fallen autumn leaves, stone ledges, and overgrown hiking trails, relying on world-class camouflage rather than fleeing. The venom of the timber rattlesnake is uniquely dangerous because different populations carry entirely different venom compositions. In some regions, their venom is heavily hemotoxic, destroying blood cells and melting tissue. In other regions, it carries a deadly neurotoxic component, known as type A venom, that attacks the nervous system, paralyzing muscles and causing rapid respiratory failure. In certain overlap zones, snakes carry both types, delivering a dual-action assault on the human body that modern emergency room teams struggle to counter. Most bites happen on ordinary afternoons. A hiker stepping over a fallen log on a state park trail, a landowner picking up firewood behind the shed, or a child playing near a stone wall in a suburban backyard. The bite feels like a hot iron driving into the flesh, and within minutes, the countdown begins. The uncomfortable truth about this entire countdown is that North America's most dangerous predator isn't the monster lurking in a distant movie scene or the creature with the biggest teeth. It is the quiet, patient threat hiding under a pile of oak leaves just 5 feet off a suburban trail, common enough that people stop looking for it until an ordinary weekend turns into an ambulance ride.